Thank you. So I'm Ali. I'm working on this project. It's a 2-year project funded by Heritage Lottery Fund and British Hedgehog Preservation Society. And we're now in the second year of this project, so I thought I'd give you a really quick sort of update as to what we've been up to. So the project is all about making Ipswich the most hedgehog-friendly town in the UK, and the main aims of the project then are to really increase hedgehog awareness across Ipswich so that people are aware of the threats that hedgehogs are facing and also the easy actions that they can take in their own gardens and streets. To promote and record action and increase connectivity across the town, and to better understand the ecology of the species as well. So in terms of where our project sits in the wider picture of hedgehog conservation in the UK, Hedgehog Street, run by People's Trust for Endangered Species and British Hedgehog Preservation Society, are the sort of national project. They are really pushing hedgehog conservation forward, and they produce national reports on the trends of hedgehogs across the UK. And more local projects then are feeding into the sort of conservation framework that they've put forward. So obviously our project here in Suffolk, there is also a project run by London Wildlife Trust and also by Warwickshire Wildlife Trust as well. So why are there so many hedgehog projects now? Obviously hedgehogs are in decline. A report that came out just a couple of weeks ago showed us that rural populations have declined by at least 50% in the past 2 decades. And urban populations have declined by up to a third between 2000 and 2014. But this decline may now be slowing in our towns and cities, which is promising. Threats that hedgehogs are facing then in suburban and urban areas include tidy gardening, so loss of wild areas for nesting and foraging. Impermeable fences, so lots of brand new concrete gravel boards, which make connectivity very difficult. And hazards such as strimming, get tangled up in litter and netting, steep-sided ponds. Hedgehogs can swim very well, but they need to be able to get out. Slug pellets and chemicals used in gardens and green spaces generally, and of course roads. Apart from maybe roads, all of the other hazards or threats are things that we as individuals can change, so we can all take action and we can make a real difference. So the State of Britain's Hedgehogs report that I mentioned showed us that the decline might be slowing in urban areas. And to quote the report, they say hedgehogs are not disappearing from sites as rapidly as they were 15 years ago and might be even returning. Where they are found, numbers too appear to be growing. Public efforts to improve garden habitats and connectivity might be giving them a chance. So this is very much what our project is about then, is trying to encourage people to do things in their gardens because it is making a difference. So in Suffolk then, these were the records that the Suffolk Biological Records Centre, or SBIS, had back in 2013. So you can see we didn't have very many hedgehog records at all. So we didn't know if we were too late to help hedgehogs. In 2014, the Trust launched a big hedgehog campaign. We launched our online map. And we worked with BBC Radio Suffolk, so Mark Murphy had there going the whole campaign. And we were generally just trying to get people thinking about hedgehogs and letting us know whether they had seen them or not seen them in their gardens. And this campaign really worked. So this was after the first year. We had around 8,000 records in 2014. So you can see already a massive difference between those two maps. Loads and loads of records across the county. And this is Ipswich. So again, really good spread of records across the town. And we already knew in Ipswich that we had a good network of green spaces. So these, it's kind of hard to tell, but all the areas that are kind of outlined in sort of a bold green line are areas that were surveyed as part of a wildlife audit back in 2012 and 13. And the fact then that we knew we had this network of green spaces of good conservation value, and we had all of these hedgehog records, led us to our current project and our focus on Ipswich for this work. So this is a lovely hedgehog mural that was created by ATM, who is a street artist. This, if you haven't seen it already, it's on the next to the Swan pub in the centre of town, opposite the Corn Exchange. So the project is very much about raising awareness. So we've been running lots of activities and surveys across the town, not just ourselves, but with other wildlife groups, so Ipswich Wildlife Group, Greenways, the Council Wildlife Rangers as well. So we've been running lots of night safaris to get people out into the parks looking for hedgehogs, looking for lots of other nocturnal creatures as well. Our mammal detective events with our hedgehog footprint tunnels, trying to find hedgehogs in the parks. And we've been using some exciting gadgets as well. So we've been using a night vision monocular and thermal imaging gadget on our night safaris. So this image on the left is a squirrel. That little yellow dot in the middle is a squirrel, sat in a tree in Christchurch Park. So it's been quite fun looking for wildlife in different ways. A little wood mouse and a group of us checking our hedgehog tunnels in Bourne Park as well. So we've been running workshops and training activities. So these are some workshops that we've got coming up. Basically just opportunities for people to learn about hedgehog behaviour, gardening for hedgehogs, and how to survey for them as well. And we've been working with planners, land managers and ecologists. We've been running land managers courses, which are authored by the People's Trust for Endangered Species and British Hedgehog Preservation Society. We've produced online planning guidance for hedgehogs. And we've been giving advice and marking where hedgehog holes in developments should go to try and improve connectivity at that ground level as well. We're doing lots of work to try and enthuse young people to take action, so working with lots of primary schools across the town. Sidegate Primary School is one example. Lots of organisations have come together under the Wild Ipswich banner, and we recruited wildlife ambassadors for each year group within the school. Our first activity was at Holywells Park, looking at all the different habitats in a park sort of setting, and then the students could then have a think about how they could translate that back into their own school grounds. We've been doing lots of wildlife surveys, hedgehog surveys in their school fields, creating habitat, creating log piles, hedgehog houses, wildflower meadows with the Urban Buzz Project, and spreading the word to the neighbourhood as well. So these are some leaflets that the ambassadors made all about helping hedgehogs, and these were then distributed to all of the houses within the school catchment area. And a big part of the project is getting hedgehog champions on board, or people that want to be hedgehog champions. So these are volunteers that are trying to encourage their neighbours to link their gardens up with holes in their fences and with hedgehog habitat. And we've got these champion packs to help with that task. We also have family activity booklets, so full of games and activities for children to get excited about hedgehogs. And our tunnels and cameras that people can borrow as well to work out whether they have hedgehogs in their street. So we've got 43 hedgehog champions at the moment, so 43 streets aiming to be hedgehog friendly. These are where these streets are at the moment, so this is a network that we're trying to build throughout the project. So if you are local and see a gap and want to become a champion, let me know. And we are logging action that people are taking as well. So we want to know about your hedgehog-friendly garden, about your holes in your fences, wild areas and nest boxes, so that we can get a better idea of how connected the town and, well, the county is becoming for hedgehogs as well. So if you have a hedgehog-friendly garden, or you're going to make your garden more hedgehog-friendly, please do head to our website for advice and also for this online map, which is there. And so trying to better understand the ecology of the species as well. So we've been working with Nottingham Trent University on a project that they're doing across the UK. We're one of their study sites, trying to validate a new method for estimating hedgehog population density. So we conducted this back in spring of last year. Our study area is in that black box in north-west Ipswich. And it basically involved distributing cameras randomly within our study area to gather data for a model that would be estimating density. And we also needed to validate that with night work and a mark recapture study. So these were the night transects that we were walking between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. to try and encounter as many hedgehogs as possible. All these hedgehogs underwent health checks, and if they were healthy, they were given a unique mark. And if they were heavy enough, they were given a tag, a satellite and radio tag. So once they were tagged, we were then walking around with this massive aerial, trying to relocate them so that we could get that data back. We were then putting all of these cameras into gardens within our study site, 120 gardens, and we found lots of hedgehogs in these gardens, which was very promising. So over half of the gardens had hedgehogs visiting. We also had lots of other species, obviously cats and dogs, tons of them, some mice, rats, and foxes as well. And you can see us trying to stay dry in the rain with our laptop, which was interesting. And we are conducting this study again this year. We've got a new study site in the northeast of Ipswich in that other random shape. So we will be conducting a lot more night work. So if you fancy becoming nocturnal, you're very welcome to come and help us. We're conducting the night work between the 1st and 15th of April. And it's lots of fun. So let me know if you'd like to come along. For more advice and information about the project, come and chat to me over, at our stall, but also we've got our website with lots more information on there and links to our map and things like that. Oh yeah, you just need to click on the conservation tab and it will lead you to the hedgehog section. So yes, that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ellie.